In the last 2 episodes of Family Guy, Stewie gets married to Brian.
Will you marry me?
Peter and Lois's gross sex tape goes viral.
It was totally in.
And Joe's sleeping medication gives him the ability to walk. Not only that, but the guys actually prefer his cool sleepwalking persona. Even his wife likes him way better.
Are you coming back to bed, Joey?
And they all sound like very fun concepts, but were the episodes actually any good? Let's get into it. So, seeing as I was ill last week because of a baby sensory class, I'm going to share my thoughts on episode 13 before then moving on to reviewing the latest one. Titled Friend's Best Man, the episode starts with Stewie lamenting the fact that he's a single unwed baby who's terrified of growing old alone. But his fears are finally put to rest when Rupert proposes.
Rupert asked me to marry him and I said yes!
Stewie and Rupert's road to engagement has been a very rocky one. And I actually covered their on and off again relationship in my Stewie Love Life video, but I'll quickly run through the highlights here. So although Rupert is technically just a stuffed teddy bear, in Stewie's imagination, he's very much alive. In his mind, Rupert is this tall, muscular man with a bear head, and he's constantly fantasizing about their lives together.
Stewie, we've been playing for half an hour.
Oh, okay. You want to go ride the teabags? Teacups? Teabags?
What's funny though is that Rupert actually is alive, once telling the other toys that he wasn't gay.
Hey, everybody, just so you know, I'm straight.
Stewie's fiercely protective of their relationship. For example, in season 7, he discovered that the new dog humped Rupert, so naturally he murdered him and chopped his body up into tiny little pieces. But weirdly, Stewie isn't totally against watching Rupert get it on with someone else. Like the time where he fantasized about tying himself up while Rupert and Brian got it on. So, while Stewie and Rupert remain a pretty consistent couple over the years, they have had their ups and downs. Like in season 12 when Stewie reconnected with his first love Oscar, and he admitted that he still had feelings for his old bear.
Well, Oscar's the only one who can really make me laugh. I hate to say it, but I'm mostly with Rupert because of his insurance.
As such, he starts pushing Rupert away until they break up.
You may as well call your family now because I'm not going to Sarasota. I don't care if we can't get a refund, we're through!
Now free to date Oscar again, Stewie then gets jealous the second he sees Brian humping Rupert.
And you know Rupert's a dude, right, you gay lord?
Stewie realizes that he loves Rupert after all and asks him to choose between him and Brian.
Yes! Oh my god, Rupert, I'm so sorry for everything! I missed you too!
But despite their reconciliation, Rupert was perhaps still hurt by this betrayal, because a season later, it revealed the bear was having an affair with the mayor.
I'm gonna let that teddy bear go all the way.
So yeah, not exactly a storybook romance.
Do me a favor and don't wake me when you come up, though. Yes, you do. You always step on the creaky board. Yes, you do, every time.
And then things fall apart again in season 19 after Stewie discovers Rupert originally belonged to Chris.
I'm not going to hit you, so relax. Anyway, the point is, it's not working anymore, Rupert.
Now newly single, Stewie starts rebounding with his other stuffed toys.
What do you think of that? That's something you can work with?
But he's clearly just doing it to make Rupert jealous. In fact, he becomes so obsessed that he actually planned on murdering Chris and Rupert. But ultimately, he did change his mind in the end and they got back together again.
You do love me. Oh, Rupert, I love you so much.
And more recently, Stewie thought he was pregnant.
Perhaps being pregnant will be more difficult than I thought. And we still have to plan a gender reveal party.
And Rupert has repeatedly pressured him about marriage.
How about we look at rings this weekend? I don't know, Zales, probably? Well, that's what we can afford since only one of us has a job.
Anyway, back to the episode, and Stewie announces the engagement, and I actually love how supportive Chris is here. In my opinion, Stewie and Chris probably have the most underrated relationship in the show. They've had a few genuinely really sweet moments together over the years, like when Stewie helped Chris build confidence with girls and when they bonded during their time travel adventure. So it kind of makes sense why Stewie asked Chris to be his best man, much to Brian's jealousy. And Brian gets stuck doing all kinds of crappy jobs, like picking up Stewie's obnoxious frat friends for the bachelor party. And this bit made me laugh out loud.
He banged my dad as a goof.
He did what now?
Oh, he's always banging dads.
And it was also pretty funny when one of them died and immediately got a Viking funeral.
All right, let's get back to the strip club before they take our wings off the table.
So, it's the day of the wedding and even Rupert's parents show up.
On the Sabbath, he makes us travel.
And I love how this implies that yes, Rupert really is sentient. Even if season 23's China doll established that Rupert was actually made on a factory line in China, with Stewie mistaking two factory workers as his parents.
Look, she has Rupert's same non-smile, and he has Rupert's glassy dead eyes.
So Rupert is waiting at the altar, but Stewie is a no-show. So Brian goes to check in on him, and Stewie reveals the truth.
Don't you see? I've been waiting for you to propose to me for years.
Yep, it turns out the whole wedding was a ruse to make Brian jealous, because Stewie really wanted to marry him instead. Because in Stewie's eyes, a marriage is basically a sleepover with your best friend that never ends. And instead of reacting like a normal person and explaining why this is weird, Brian actually agrees that they should get married. They clearly wanted it to come across as this emotional, heartfelt moment with the swelling music and all the crying. At least the next scene got a small laugh out of me, where the court flat out refused to marry them.
Since when can a dog and a baby not get a marriage license?
The story ends with Chris marrying the librarian instead, and so the wedding deposit doesn't go completely to waste.
She didn't know my age and wound up going to jail. I told everyone we did it.
Overall, I thought the A-plot was just okay. The idea of Stewie planning a wedding to his teddy bear boyfriend sounds a lot funnier than what they actually did with it. I was hoping for a full-on Bridezilla Stewie, obsessing over flowers and seating charts. But instead, most of the plot is just an annoying and smug Chris bossing Brian about. It felt like wasted potential. I actually preferred the B-plot, so Peter and Lois decide to spice things up on a date night by filming a sex tape, only to then immediately regret it after watching it back.
Lot more coughing and sneezing than I remember.
And I cracked up when Peter paused mid-session to take the bins out and then started arguing with the trash collector.
Sir, your trash cans have to be 3 inches apart. We've had this conversation.
The next day, Lois chats to the gals about how awful their tape is, and I love that Ellie Hitler is just a part of their friendship group now.
I spanked a guy with a book, but I went too hard and I broke his anus.
She just adds a fun dynamic, especially seeing as Donna barely has a personality anymore, and Bonnie's entire character now revolves around her cheating on Joe. Speaking of which, Bonnie then reveals that yes, she made a sex tape with another man. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while now, you already know how I feel about the constant Bonnie cheating jokes. That said though, I would be lying if I said that this one didn't get a little giggle out of me. The idea of Joe being recast in his own sex tape is so pathetic and ridiculous that it's kind of hard not to laugh. Anyway, it turns out Peter accidentally uploaded their nasty sex tape to YouTube.
YouTube didn't even bother to censor the video, classifying it as a nature documentary.
So the video goes viral, and weirdly enough, the entire town is super supportive, especially this mysterious commenter.
Chris Griff Official without a checkmark posted 3 water droplets.
And Chris watching his parents' tape honestly tracks. We all know that kid has serious mummy issues.
I think Mrs. Griffin's hot.
Go to your room.
The town becomes so supportive that the mayor even decides to honour Peter and Lois with an award, only for it to turn out that their sex tape became inspirational because it promoted body positivity and scared teenagers into abstinence. And I did laugh when the tape was revealed to be called Beauty and the Obese.
But I wish Pornhub wouldn't use the title Beauty and Obese.
By the end of the episode, Peter and Lois decide that they don't care what people think because they genuinely love each other. Overall, I thought this episode was fine, and hardly the worst in the season, and it did manage to make me laugh a few times, so therefore, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Now, let's talk about episode 14, Let the Goodtimes Walk. It starts with the Griffins attending the school's fundraiser, and Quagmire is there to buy some used girls' field hockey uniforms.
And what vintage is this one?
A 2022 junior varsity, sir.
Excellent year.
And yes, it is gross, but it did still get a good laugh out of me. For a while now, it felt like the show was toning down Quagmire's creepier traits, but I've noticed them ramping them up a little more recently. While I like how his character has grown, I do think it's important to still keep him as this horny, creepy guy. Anyway, Peter spots a saxophone and immediately uses Meg's college fund to buy it. And like every Family Guy episode where Peter discovers a new hobby, the sax instantly becomes his entire personality, with him constantly blasting Careless Whisper. And funnily enough, Peter's sax skills don't come out of nowhere, because back in season 10, it was revealed that him and Lois have phone sax.
Yeah, don't wash the mouthpiece.
And in season 20, he parodies this iconic saxophone scene from The Lost Boys, which is a classic 80s film that I absolutely love. In typical Family Guy fashion though, they drag this gag out for way too long. And the military funeral one in particular felt like it went on forever. Although Peter asking the grieving widow for a tip did get me. Joe is also getting sick of Peter and him constantly playing outside of his window all night, so he turns to Quagmire to help dealing with Peter's shenanigans, and as it turns out, Quagmire literally has a Peter survival kit. And alongside the ear/butt plug, Quagmire also keeps very powerful sleeping pills, which he also gives to Joe. Later that night, a sleepwalking Joe arrives at Quagmire's house, except now he is walking, and he no longer tells boring stories. And the joke here where Joe wakes up and sees his single step count was really funny. And this is really where the episode picked up for me, because the first 6 minutes were honestly pretty dull, especially with how repetitive the careless whisper gag became. So the guys take Joe to the hospital looking for answers, where they then meet a guy called Alex Guerrero. Apparently he's based on a real person, but I'd never actually heard of him, so looking him up afterwards, and it turns out he falsely presented himself as a doctor and is also close with Tom Brady. Anyway, in a scene that really didn't need to exist, he explains that Joe basically becomes an entirely different person on the medication. Someone cool, charismatic and fun. But he also warns them that the pills do have dangerous side effects if Joe keeps taking them. Back at the Clam, and regular Joe bores everyone again with another mundane story about batteries. So the guys pressure him into taking another pill just so Joey Goodtimes comes back. The guys love this cool, laid-back version of Joe, and even Bonnie can't keep her hands off him. They have new pet names for each other too, but Peter's nickname for Lois isn't quite as cute as Bonfire.
Dumpster fire?
Peter!
But when Joe returns to his normal state, he finds out that Bonnie prefers Joey.
Just wake me up if you decide to fall asleep again.
And then knowing everyone prefers him when he's medicated, Joe returns to Joey Goodtimes all the time. Eventually though, the guys realise that hanging out with Joey can be exhausting, especially when he refuses to let anyone use the golf cart. Which did lead to a great cutaway where Peter admits that he doesn't even walk on a mini golf course. Back at the Clam, and the exhausted group starts turning on each other and quickly realise that they desperately need a punching bag friend. And I love when Bruce overhears them about needing a bottom friend.
3 Shirley Temples for that booth over there?
And by the way, if you haven't watched my Bruce Straight deep dive yet, then definitely check that out. And let me know what other Family Guy and American Dad characters' histories I should cover next. Anyway, so in order to lure regular Joe back out, the guys start asking very dull questions. And the one that finally snaps him out of being Joey Goodtimes is naturally about batteries. And just like that, boring Joe returns. Interestingly, there's actually no B-plot in this episode, no random Brian and Stewie's side adventure, and I didn't mind that because this main story was strong enough to carry the entire episode on its own. I really liked the setup here, but I do think the episode could have pushed the concept a bit further. They mention that the pills could have dangerous side effects, but they never actually explore it. I also thought they were going to parody the substance a bit more directly, with, spoilers for that film if you haven't seen it, the drug slowly turning the real Elizabeth into this grotesque monster. I definitely think there was another way around this story instead of the guys just wanting their punching bag friend back.
But I'm cool now! The old Joe was just a crippled punching bag!
That said, I still enjoyed this episode overall, even if it did feel a little derivative of Season 6's Believe It or Not, Joe's Walking on Air. This is where Joe regains his ability to walk only for his friends to want the old Joe back. Still, the sleepwalking angle did make it different enough. Overall, I thought it was a very decent episode. Nothing amazing mind you, but it still gave me a good few laughs, so therefore I'll give it 3 out of 5. But what do you think of this episode? Did you like it? Let's chat in the comments.